Hi, this is Rabbi Aaron Shub talking to you from Balboa Park again in San Diego. People have just as much reason to be suspicious of religion as to devote themselves to it. And it's for opposite reasons. Or the same reason, depending on how we look at this. We know that the word religion has its etymology in a Latin word which means to bind, to tie. And this is especially true of a religion like traditional Judaism, which is based in halakha, which is based in a system of Jewish law. The details of the law are how we manifest the commandments of God as set forth in the Torah, as interpreted through the rabbinic tradition over the generations. This makes it possible, this I'm about to say will be obvious to anybody who's skeptical of religion, for our religious practice to devolve into a system of submitting ourselves to social pressure, submitting ourselves to the dictates of religious leadership, dictating the dictations of trends in the community. We might know that something's actually kosher, but we won't eat it because no one else will eat at our house anymore. We might know that it's perfectly okay to sing. This is especially true if you're a woman. But social pressure says, no, we hold by certain standards of tznius, of modesty, so yeah, keep it to yourself. No. Being an Oved Hashem, being a servant of the eternal oneness of existence, the essence of all reality and source of all that comes into being, is not about keeping up with the Goldsteins. It's about putting oneself aside so as to allow what is most true and most beautiful to become manifest in the world. Now, how do you put self aside? What am I talking about here? There are a couple aspects of it. Basically, I'm talking about egocentrism. Yes, I'm talking partly about what the tradition mostly talks about: appetites, desires, selfish impulses. A lot of these things end up being called the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination in rabbinic tradition. Yes, we do need to know how to set these things aside, but also we need to know within ourselves what these things come from. I'm talking about self-awareness, and a self-awareness requires a sort of objectivity about what makes us work inside. The other side of this egotism, as I talked about on Hanukkah, is putting aside social pressure, putting aside our fear of other people's opinions about us. You have to live as truly to yourself, your true self, your soul, if you want to use that term, as possible, and not to social dictates. Putting aside the pressure to dress a certain way because the community's dressing that way, to, for example, not eat organic produce because people say, oh, the bug's protein. We need to put these things aside. Put self aside. This is all egotism. Putting yourself aside means putting aside those things which prevent you from doing what you ultimately know is right and true. It's what puts aside full exposure to another person's full emotional and spiritual being as you encounter it and then encounter that person. It means putting aside those things which prevent us from fully actualizing our best selves in the world. Religion, when done wrong, puts us in a box. This is Shibud Mitzrayim. This is enslavement to Egypt. Religion, when it's used as a vehicle to help put the ego aside, that is a pair of wings which takes you off into the skies. It's something that will truly open you up. So there are other ways to open oneself up. Certain kinds of arts when they're practiced. Meditation, of course. One of my favorite ways is practicing acting. I have an acting background. I meditate, I practice martial arts. And I daven, I pray, the traditional liturgy with revolutionary content and motivation. The words that Jews have used to pray in for well over 2,000 years come out of my mouth 3 times a day, more often on Shabbat and on Jewish holidays. But what motivates that is a reaching out, a connecting to the ultimate oneness of existence, so that what is preconditioned, what is before all of my socialization and all the identity markers that have been piled on upon me for the 4 to 4 years that I've been alive, may be parted like a curtain and allow core true self to encounter the world and encounter the core true self of the universe itself. That's the exercise of tefillah, the exercise of prayer. It's the motivation behind keeping Shabbat. It's the motivation behind Bikur Cholim, behind visiting the sick and encountering another human being face to face. Religion, when it's done right, isn't a shackle. It's the key to break you out of your own prison. So dance. Let your voice ring out. Whether you're a man or woman, don't worry about what people might tell you is inappropriate in this regard. Shiru Lashem Shir Chadash. Sing to the eternal a new song. Best wishes.